Hey guys, Krista Grace here. Welcome back to another Pick a Card reading. This one is all about what makes people envious of you. So with 3 piles to choose from, pile 1, pile 2, and pile 3. Quick disclaimer while you are connecting with one of the cards. If a reading begins to put you on a downward spiral, please opt off of the reading and trust that the reading is not for you, or maybe my platform isn't. And with that said, let's jump into it. Let's find out what makes people envious of you. Pile number 1, welcome to your reading. Those of you who chose card number 40, Blessing in Disguise. What's going on in this card? Like, she's got one eye closed, one eye open. I don't know if that's a temperature gauge there. It's some kind of gauge, but you know, she reminds me of that TV show, what's her name? I think she ends up being one of the Marvel characters as well. But she's like this tall, brunette, like quite thin woman. And she always plays like a ditzy sort of role. And I think in one of the TV shows, she's either really rich or she's like always trying to make ends meet. I was trying to find her, but I can't find her. But you'll know. Let me know who it is, because she looks like a specific actress. And she's just really funny, long brown hair. So we've got a couple of masks coming off here, Blessing in Disguise. So I feel like a lot of you maybe where you're at in life is you finally learning or starting to see that when people finally unveil their mask or unreel their mask, it is a blessing in disguise here. Like, you are finally seeing people for who they are. And although it may hurt, although it may be really shit, it might even like put you in a really bad mood, like hot temper. It is a blessing in disguise is what I feel here. Because once you see people for who they truly are, you can't unsee it. You can't pretend it didn't happen. When people hurt you, it's really hard to sort of like go back from that. And I understand there are people in the world who can persevere and keep putting up with shit after shit in relationships, in friendships, romantic connections. But I feel like you guys are at that point now where you have grown and you're realizing rejection is protection. You are realizing when people unmask themselves, it is a blessing in disguise. So it's not about you, it is about them always, and having been ill-intended people, because there's plenty out there. And I feel like what you could be learning as well at this time is people can wear multiple masks. There isn't just one. And then for others of you, maybe the blessing in disguise is like you finally learned how to, be a bit of a shapeshifter here. And it's not to say that you're being a shifty character, but you've learned that you need to play the game. You know, don't hate the game, hate the hater. Don't hate the hater, hate the game. So you may be learning that you have to wear different masks on a day-to-day basis in order to get to where you're going. It's not to mean you're being ill-intended. It's more about a protective mechanism to ensure, like, you know, nothing gets in the way of like your goals, your dreams. And then there's this sense of like shedding skin as well here that's coming through. Like, you know, I think I feel like there is this sort of like old self, out with the old and in with the new. So if that sounds like you, awesome. Sweetie is joining us for your reading. We're going to find out what makes people envious of you. Jesus. Well, we'll take 6 of Wands. This level of public recognition here, but we'll see. King of Cups. Hello. I'll fix the camera in a minute as soon as Sweetie is joining us. This is the devil. I'm just going to go with 4 cards today for this one. Okay. It's not too bad. You can still see it. All right. 6 of Wands. Obviously, a lot of you who have picked this pile, 6 of Wands indicates to me you have some level of like public recognition here. You know, there's been some level of victory. So whatever success you've recently had, whatever progression has unfolded for you in an area of like success. So it could be a promotion at work. It could be some level of like stardom. People are envious for you. They're envious of you because of this. So you could be getting a lot of positive feedback about yourself, okay? And this may have enhanced your self-confidence and people are feeling envious over that. Either way, the 6 of Wands tells me that you guys are on the path to success. And flat out, very black and white answer or response to this question based off that is people are envious of the path of success you are currently on. They're envious because you're receiving positive feedback or recognition for whatever it is you're working on. And I feel like your level of self-confidence could have enhanced. So for others of you, if you're not in the limelight or things aren't going great at work, it could be just the fact that your level of self-confidence has leveled up and people are very envious that you are very confident, very prideful of yourself while they sit in, you know, the depths of darkness. For others of you, you know, if you are taking a relationship to the next level, I would say people could be envious of that because their relationship is stuck. And maybe there's some suitors around you, like you are definitely being watched at the moment. 6 of Wands definitely indicates people are taking notice of you, pile 1, and people are getting envious of that because maybe they're not being noticed anymore, depending on what environment that may apply. Like it could be like you going to a gym and you're new to that gym, you know what I mean? So like people are envious at the fact like, you know, people are giving you attention and no longer giving them. So your appearance is definitely being highlighted, I feel. So then we have the King of Cups. Yeah, I just kind of feel people are envious of how people are viewing you at the moment. So they might see you as a person who is very loyal, very affectionate, very like compassionate. And I feel like people are envious because of you, because they could be watching others come towards you and not coming to them, which is what I am heavily picking up with that 6 of Wands. So a King of Cups can be a very devoted individual. They're very emotionally balanced. They're diplomatic. Like they're Switzerland, right? They don't get involved in messy situations, but they can provide, you know, constructive advice to people. So I feel like for any of you that you've got people coming to you for advice, other people are envious of you because they used to be the people that would be on the other end of giving that advice. So there is this level of trust has been broken for some people in regards to their friends or their family members coming to you and not them anymore. I think if you are a father here, people could be very envious about how good of a father you are. If you're a husband or a person like a man, people are very envious about how you love the people in your life and how they don't receive that love. So take that as it resonates. It could be the fact that, you know, you're very logical and very practical. And because you are like, you know, being seen as a wise mentor, people are feeling very envious at the fact that they don't have the skills or the traits that you have. So they feel like inadequate in how they can support and love the people around them. So that could be how men are sort of feeling in regards to another man there. The Justice card, you know, it is a card that will talk about karmic justices, consequences. So people could be very envious of you in the fact that, like whenever there are disputes surrounding you or whenever life lessons are unfolding and you're in the brink of that, maybe people are very envious that others around you receive their karma, where they may not feel like the people who do them wrong receive their karma. It could be that the people that do receive karma from the life lessons you invoke on them, or, you know, that they invoke on themselves by whatever bullshit they come towards you with, they could feel very envious in the fact that they're very envious in the fact that you always operate from an honest and fair, you know, moral high ground. And I think they feel envious because it doesn't matter how much like bullshit they've thrown your way, you've been able to hold your emotions in check. And I guess we also see that with the King of Cups showing up for you as well. You know, you follow the law. I feel people could be very envious at the fact that you are a person who, you know, operates from a very honest point, like honest stance. You follow guidelines, policies, procedures, and you always end up on top is what I feel. Other ways we can look at the Justice card in regards to why people are envious of you is like something to do with your level of integrity, like you're always acting with integrity. Like it's very hard for you to make mistakes. And I also feel like why people get envious of you is because if you do make mistakes, you always take responsibility and accountability. And I think because of this, a lot of people respect you for that. Like I think you've grown a lot and people are very envious at the fact that they can't throw shade at you. Like you may have been a person who never really thought much about acting with integrity. You may not have been a person who was Switzerland. You might have got involved and now you've changed, like you've leveled up in your maturity is what I feel. And people are very envious in the fact that they can't paint you with the same brush anymore with the Justice card. Now, the Devil card could indicate to us that why people are envious of you here is because you're no longer attached to things that no longer serve you. Like you could have been a person who had like, you know, addiction issues, obsessive behavior. Like you could have been very materialistic, you know, very dependent on something that wasn't the best for you. But I feel like why people are envious of you now is because you've grown, you've become more independent, you're detached from things that no longer have power over you. So you're living a life of the free is what I'm hearing. So they're envious because you've overcome or reclaimed your power by releasing things that no longer serve you with this Devil card. And people are envious of that because they're still very attached to something that they shouldn't be attached to. They're still very codependent on things that do not serve their highest good. So I think it's great that you have leveled up, and that's why I feel people are envious of you at this time. So if you enjoyed that, let me know. Put a little emoji down in the comments for me, but I'll see you next time. Bye. Hey, pile 2, welcome to your reading. Those of you who chose card 35, no strings attached. She looks very disinterested and she looks like, I give zero fucks. I will cut you off if I have to cut you off. So for some of you, you are very much in this energy, like you just maybe have had enough of people's BS. Maybe you've just had enough of maybe people coming to you with no strings attached energy, you know. So those of you out in the dating game, and you've had enough. So you are really working hard in cutting the cord there. I am seeing Edward Scissorhands in my third eye. So you are definitely getting better at cutting cords with people who do not serve your highest good, or you could be currently going through, a period in your life where you're having to, dig deep and cut people out of your, cut people out of your life who maybe like always do things for you with strings attached, right? So maybe you're finally wanting to step outside of like an environment where people try and, treat you like a puppet, get you to do everything that they want you to do. A good example, what I'm trying to say is like, it could be the fact like they go and do something for you and say, yeah, but I did all of this for you. So then that they feel like they've got the right to mistreat you. Abuse you sort of vibe. And abuse can come in all different shapes and sizes and colors and levels of, hurt. So it will be different for all of you. But I feel like, some of you could have hit rock bottom and like enough's enough. Like, if you don't start cutting people out of your life, like there's going to be nothing left in the bank, like energetically. If that sounds like you, let's jump into it. Obviously, that's not the most positive energy to be in, but if you are at that point where you know you have to cut people off, that is a great place to be in. Unfortunately, we do have to hit rock bottom in order to, to get back up. All right. So show me why people are envious of pile number 2. 8 of Pentacles, 10 of Cups. There's that walking away energy with, cutting people off. So at least we got that confirmation. We got the 2 of Pentacles and the Chariot. Yeah, and it's funny because at the bottom of the deck we do have 10 of Swords. So we do have the 8 of Cups front and center here as well. But yeah, it's definitely giving me I was only going to do 4 cards, but anyway, it is what it is. You guys get 5. Don't tell the other piles. All right, so there would be a reason for that. And obviously the Chariot is really reiterating this overcoming like trials and tribulations here. So let's start at the 8 of Pentacles, right? So I would say there are people envious of, the work that you do. So that can apply with any kind of work, right? So take it as it resonates. But I feel like a lot of you are really good at something and people get envious about how good you are. You're very creative and it's very unique. So see how this pentacle is not in line with the other pentacles. So I feel like people get envious about something that you do and you do quite well. It could be something very creative because she's painting. Painting is a form of creativity. But you do things very uniquely, and I think naturally people get envious at the fact that you don't follow everyone else. You don't follow mainstream, so you're off, beating, off like walking to the beat of your own drum, right? But there is something that you do very uniquely in the workplace or something that you work on, tangible, that people are very envious about that craft. The 10 of Cups, right? People are envious of your family life. So that could look very different for all of you. Like some of you, this gives me like same-sex marriage going on here. People could be envious at the fact that you're very open about your sexuality here, right? That you are open because this is the kind of family life that you want. Doesn't necessarily mean people are envious because you already have this. They could be just envious because you're not afraid to be who you are, right? You're not afraid to hide who you are. So that doesn't necessarily have to mean that about in regards to the sexuality comment. It could be the fact that people are envious because you aren't afraid to chase your happiness. You're not afraid to walk away from things with the 8 of Cups here, cut people off in order to chase your dreams. And, situations and people that are going to bring you all 10 cups. But yeah, family life is heavily linked to the 10 of Cups. So if you have a really good, healthy family life, people are very envious of that. Like, people want what you have when it comes to family. You could have come from a really good family as well, and people are envious of that. 8 of Cups, obviously your end game, your cut-off game here is definitely being highlighted, but the 8 of Cups is a very spiritual card too. It's sort of like a baby hermit energy. Like, we're 8 of Cups will indicate like people walking away from situations that no longer serve them in order to like find themselves, in order to rediscover themselves. So people are very envious at the fact that you know when to walk away for the greater good for yourself. Like, you'll always put like your spiritual needs before other people's. I feel like there is this level of envy around you with this 8 of Cups, because you don't hide your spirituality too. Like, you let people know you're going on a 3-day like hike, or I was going to say bender, but benders can result in spiritual awakenings, but each their own. But yeah, they're envious because you're not afraid to isolate yourself in order to like sort your own shit out. And that could be another thing why people get envious of you, is because you can heal, you know how to heal yourself from like, challenging times, experiences. 2 of Pentacles, like, obviously this is a card that can talk about juggling work life, work and personal life. I definitely feel like you were in a more balanced energy than maybe at one point in your life. And I feel like people are very envious in the fact that you seem to be a person who can have it all. You are very skillful, right? Like, to be able to juggling and ride a skateboard at the same time, that's somebody who's very skillful. It's somebody who is dedicated to their skill as well, which is the energy I was picking up with the 8 of Pentacles. So I feel like with this 2 of Pentacles, people are very envious of you because there's not much you can't do. Like, you can, like, it doesn't matter what life is throwing at you, doesn't matter what obstacles, you seem to stay or remain in a balanced, like, position, posture even. So, maybe they wonder how you can have it all, how you can do it all. Like, and that's sort of the vibe, especially when you've walked away from, like, obviously a lot of things here with 8 cups there. You always seem to land on your feet. And I think people are very envious about that. Like, you may make, obstacles and challenges seem very easy to overcome here with the Chariot and that 2 of Pentacles. Because you seem to remain in a very balanced state of mind, or at least this is how they see it. Like, if you are in this energy, I don't think people can see you or in that energy. Like, enough's enough. And, I feel like for some of you, there's no more energy in the bank. So, there's a lot going on internally, but I think you hide it pretty well, and people get envious at the fact that you don't show people that things aren't right in your life. Like, and I think people are very envious. Like, you don't look like, you don't ever look like you're having a bad day, and people may be envious of that because when they're having a bad day, like, you can completely tell, like, it's seen in the face, the eyes. But yeah, the Chariot card here, people are very envious over the fact that you can overcome any obstacle or challenge. Like, you will always come out on the other side very victorious. As she rides in a convertible with a fucking torch in the air. It's like you have the ability to, like, maneuver or get over anything that sort of comes out of nowhere. And people are very envious of the fact that it doesn't matter what life throws at you, you always land back on your feet. So that is what I have for you. I hope that helped. Let me know down in the comments if you want to leave a little emoji, maybe some scissors if there's scissors in the emoji. I can't remember actually. But yeah, sending much love and light to you at this time. Bye. Pile number 3, welcome to your reading. So we are going to find out what makes people envious of you. Alrighty, so we have card number 36, too many hats. It kind of looks like Santa Claus. Some of you may like to sail, you may like boats. I kind of see like a sailing hat here, but you may have to wear a lot of hats in life, okay? So what I mean by that is like you can't be the same person across all of your environments. So some of you could be chasing like big corporate careers here, others of you, and then like, so that's one area of your life. That hat that you wear to that job is very different to the hat you wear around your friends. And the hat you wear around your friends is very different to the hat that you wear around your family. Maybe you've got come from a conservative family. But yeah, like too many hats. I feel like there's a lot on your plate at the moment. Like you're juggling a lot. Like you have to be everywhere but nowhere. So I think maybe a lot of people are dependent on you at this time. Like, and I feel like you have to, maybe some of you are being both parents as well. Like you have to be the mum and the dad. And yeah, I take my hat off to you because that's a very fucking hard position to be in, especially in this day and age. It's like hectic. But there is a lot going on, right? There's a lot of layers to this imagery, right? And there's so much probably going on behind the scenes that people would have no idea that you have to be all the jacks in the trade, like, and that's sort of the vibe I'm picking up here. You are many different people rolled into one, I think, and I think a lot of you have to tap into different forms of personality in order to get through your day. Some of you may have to pretend, like, you know, always putting on a friendly face when like you don't want to be. So it's sort of like you might work in retail, like customer service roles, right? There's no place at work to be sad when you have to greet customers, right? You have to like keep your shit together. So that's sort of the vibe I'm picking up for this pile. So if that sounds like you, let's jump into it. Let's find out why people are envious of pile number 3 at this time. Alrighty, so we have the Fool, the 5 of Swords, the Magician, the 3 of Cups. The Ace of Wands was on the bottom of that deck. So there is this strong, like, strong energy around you at this time that could have a lot of people, like, observing you. Like a lot of people are sort of adoring your energy at this time. But yeah, look, when I think about the Fool and why people are envious, right? So they may see you, pile number 3, as a person who lives a very adventurous life, right? If you're a person who's in heaps of different environments, people may be very envious at the fact that your life does not seem dull. You live a life of a lot of adventure, a lot of change, like you could travel a lot as well. But you live a life where you're able to be truly you in their eyes, whereas you probably feel like you're in very much being controlled because you can't be the same person in all your environments. But the Fool can talk about somebody, you know, being very free, somebody who's very unattached. And although that you may sit there and go, well, I'm not unattached, like you know, people expect so much of you. People aren't seeing this. So they're because you hold your shit together, and people would be very like, surprised to learn that, like, you know, you have a lot on your plate. They don't see that, right? You know, you show up in this playful energy, I feel like, and you may have this like blasé sort of persona about the things that are happening in your life. And that is why I feel like people are envious of your carefree nature. They may not think you sit in a state of worry ever with this Fool card here. You know, I definitely think because of that Ace of Wands, I saw that. People could be very envious that you always seem to have new love interests around you. They could even be envious because you have you're in a very non-committal energy at this time if you are single or not in a relationship. People could be very envious that you seem to always have new love interests on the horizon, and they're jealous of that because you're in a non-committal phase of your life. Now, Five of Swords kind of just gives me the impression like you can handle conflict quite well here, right? Conflict resolution could be a strong suit for a lot of you. Like you can handle arguments and disputes quite well. You can handle hostile environments here. So why people might get envious also from that is that you know how to compromise very well with people who may be trying to disturb the peace. I also feel the energy of reconciliation with the Five of Swords here. So you're a person people get envious about because you will forgive people. And it makes it very hard for people to stay in a state of like hating you, because you will say, you know what, I know you're acting out being hostile because of X, Y, Z. You always will look at the bigger picture as to why people will behave the way they do, and you give them the benefit of the doubt. And I think people get envious of that because they can't do that. They could be people that hold a lot of grudges, want to plan revenge, whereas you're not like that. You would rather improve connections than sabotage them. And I think a lot of people get envious about that. Like for some of you, I feel like, not all of you, if you have endured like infidelity and people being deceptive for you in love, you found a way to compromise, the situation, or not compromise, the wrong choice of word. Like you find a way to forgive and reconcile. And that takes a really big person to be able to do that. So I think there are people who are very envious about maybe bringing, conflict to your doorstep, but you didn't turn it into the conflict that they may have wanted it to be turned into. Like you sort of like, I don't know, I think maybe you don't fight fire with fire. I think you kind of diffuse it with water. Like you don't go and throw fuel on the fire. You're not that kind of person. And I think that's why people are very envious of you. You handle stressful and, hectic experiences or times or periods in your life with grace, is what I feel. Like you don't allow people to be bitching behind your back to impact your day. Like you just diplomatically deal with it, is what I'm hearing. So the Magician, yeah, I don't know. Like I feel like kind of coming back into this love interest thing that I picked up with the Fool. Like people could get envious because you'll be like in a phase in your life, like a love-free phase. And then you could wake up one morning and be like, I'm going to manifest new love. And you have a tendency to be able to bring new suitors towards you. People get very envious at the fact that you can pick and choose when lovers are in your life. I also feel like people get very envious of you because you can attract positive changes in your life at the drop of a hat. Isn't that funny? Excuse the pun. I just think you have a lot of options in life, and people get very envious about that. Like if you're ready to call in a soulmate will appear. There seems to be a lot of love in the energy field at the moment as a connect to your energy. So people could be very envious about how much people desire you, fall in love with you easily. People could be very envious of it, about you at the moment, because a lot of you are receiving a lot of positive attention, romantic attention behind your back, maybe, because we do have the Three of Cups here, which is also telling me you could be out mingling with people, new friends, new work environments, and that sort of thing. And people are very envious at the fact that your life never seems dull, right? To have the Three of Cups here and the Fool there, like people are just sort of envious of your life because you're a person who always seems to be busy, socializing, out having fun, while they're not, right? You know, people around you could be very, in their mind, very open for new changes, new starts, new romantic experiences, and nothing's happening for them. But you're over here going, no, I'm not really looking for a relationship. And then there's like people lining up for you. So that's sort of the vibe I'm picking up there. Like these people may not be able to manifest or attract anything positive towards them. And if they are attracting, maybe they're attracting manipulative like energies, whereas you seem to be attracting really good soulmates at this time. And if you're not, then just take the messages that resonate. Yeah, that's sort of all I'm getting with the Magician. But yeah, like you're definitely a master of some sort of skill here with the Magician, you know, and I feel like with the Magician, it doesn't matter what you set your mind to, you can always like do stuff. So you could be one of those people like show me once, never show me again. You could learn quite quickly. People may get very envious of that. I'd say you're a very old soul here. So, you know, you've done this before and that is why it's easy for you to learn. But you have a lot of friends, I feel like with the Three of Cups. People are very envious about the friendships that you have, how people may be viewing you in the communities that you are involved in. Like people might get envious that you get invited to more celebrations or gatherings than they do. Like you seem to always be engaging in a new social event. And people are very envious at that. But Three of Cups is also linked to somebody having many potential suitors, right? And I feel like if you're not going to social events or not being invited, I would say it's solely on the basis that the envy is there, that if you do get invited to those places or those events, that there's going to be all the suitors that are potentially good for them will be into you. So just be mindful of that as well. Like if you're having a busy social life and then it stops, I would have to say it's because people see you as a threat, right? But yeah, I think you have a happy work environment at this time. You could be reaching financial goals, like some level of financial stability, and people are like envious of that. But that is what I have for you guys. Let me know down in the comments with a little emoji of maybe a money bag if that resonated, and I'll see you next time. Bye.